You know, I feel like a lot of times like people they tell their stories like when they old, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I want to get it off, like get the story off right now, and then like 10 years get another story off. You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of people, but and then I just think it's like a time for that. Like it's like an information time where like it's like it'll help somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody, you feel me? So like, I think I'm gonna start the story off at the 7th grade. You know what I mean? And then, cause then, like, we can get into before that, like on other times. You know what I mean? But so my dad, I was going to Linwood schools. I wasn't even going to Compton school. My dad despised Compton schools for some reason, and I was going to Linwood schools, which isn't that much better. But after elementary, he was like, "All right, you're not going nowhere near here. Like I'm gonna put you in Norwalk." So I end up in Norwalk at Lakeside. You know what I mean? And that's where I first met Eric. I think actually, if we being like all the way correct, I was probably in the 8th grade.
Yeah,
you was in the 7th grade.
7th grade.
Yeah. So
I lived in Norwalk.
Yeah, and my first year there was terrible. I mean, there was some black people. There was about 7 of us, and but they weren't even like the cool black people I was used to. Like, I don't know how to say. Like, they didn't wear
just the type of
like they was wearing.
We was Mexican.
Exactly. Like, yeah, they was wearing like K-Swiss and I was confused. Like, I was wearing Jordans and it was tough because it was like in school, like you so much so want to be accepted, like at least by the girls. And I very quickly seen like, oh, they think I'm weird. Cause I'm wearing different kind of clothes. They not understanding me. Even the way I talk was like what? You know what I mean? And so when you came, it was like you was black and the black kids did kind of like stick together. And you played football and I played football. And at the time, nobody really knows I was singing too. And then you was singing. So like we had so much in common. We just was like, we just linked, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like in them times, that's funny. Like you should talk on the phone like to your homies, like you talking on the phone like about nothing, just talking. And then I think I left and went to high school. Then like, but I don't know if we like
the next year.
Yeah, I don't even remember us not like still being homies. That's a hazy time.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think I might have still been at Santa Fe sometime during the summer. Like when you was going to Santa Fe and I went to that summer. I'm getting ready for football. We even linked a little bit before then. Cause when was the point when we realized we was both living
in Compton, right? That's what I was getting to. Like, I don't remember.
Was it before high school or was it junior high school? That had to be junior high school.
I think it was junior. Yeah, I think it was like right away. Like,
yeah.
I remember what happened was like he ended up moving like right down the street from me, and so we found out that we moved. We was like down the street from each other. Yeah. So then. Like, I don't even know who initiated what, but like my dad would take us to school and then I don't know if it was like your mom or your dad would pick us up from like football practice or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And so then, like, we would be together literally every day. Like, it was not
zero
a day.
period till in the morning.
So I don't even know if it was like a thing where, and when you was in 8th grade, like, did we take you in there and I went to high school?
You know what? I think I might have rode. Your pops might have dropped me off to that certain point.
Yeah, and then
I walk up that hill.
Right. Yeah, that might have been right. So that's crazy. I don't even remember that. That's so crazy that
all I remember is the van.
The van.
With like Lauryn Hill, Miseducation.
Yeah,
Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
Extinction Level Event.
Yep. And we used to I think we used to listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Bone Thugs. You had to know First of the Month.
Yeah, we was listening to that. We was really into R&B because we was singing. So we was really into it though. Like really like it just grew after that. Like I remember in high school times we was listening to like Jagged Edge and Dissecting It and I don't know, in high school we just kind of got that's when these niggas just together all day every day.
Football practice.
Yeah, it was everything. Niggas was doing everything together. Those was the days. That was comedy. We had so many times, like in high school. Eric got his license first, and so like he would have all these odd type of cars, like your first car. Like he had like 7 first cars. You feel me? And like I remember one of them. It was like a Fox. I was just showing this girl.
It was
a Volkswagen Fox. And the way you had to start it was like, nigga, you would like close the door. Like you would have to close the door and then do the thing like that. Like I
think it was like a kick. It was like a horse. You feel me?
And it was comedy because it was known, but it was like not known. Like. It wasn't like I didn't feel like my family was richer than your family, but I felt like you was always on that type of like rinky dink, like you know what I'm saying, like trying to.
I wasn't by any means necessary.
Yeah, like I was like, cause I remember it'd be times where like I asked my dad for lunch money, and sometimes he would give it to me, and then Eric would be like, "What?" Like you guys got lunch money? Like, nigga, that's...
we was making sandwiches.
Yeah,
like... Moms was making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich cut diagonally like a triangle.
Nah, it was a real thing, but niggas really formed a real brotherhood in high school, like, cause it was just so many things niggas was going through. Like, we was there for like each other's first, you know what I'm saying? First girls, first championships, first whatever. Like niggas was experiencing it all, and it was crazy because like, we definitely had been tested too. The relationship had been tested. There was a moment where we wasn't even really talking. I don't remember like at what point. Maybe like I might have been like a junior.
High school.
Yeah, high school. We had like stopped talking. I forget why, but I know who had initiated the separation. Like they put the thoughts in your head. You know what I mean? And then we had stopped talking for a minute, and then it was like, that's dumb, nigga. Like fuck all that.
I remember.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
That was on purpose, it seemed like.
Yeah. Well, because niggas was just too tight, and I felt like, he was tight with you before. You feel me? So
like lived down the street, kindergarten.
Yeah, like y'all grew up together, type of shit. So then when he seen us getting close, it was like hold on, them niggas closer than.
In 11th grade, niggas' tactics was.
Yeah, niggas is trying to.
Nah, yeah.
It was really like, it was really like.
I didn't even understand it back then, I don't think. I think I just realized it and was just like... But now, just looking back on it, I can see like, man, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. I was, dog, like, you know, I tell people, let's be honest. Just be honest. Because I said, like, in high school, for real, I would say that I wasn't that smart. Like, I wasn't, like, this, like, on edge, sharp, like, focused, driven human being, I don't think.
I think he was just young. I think that come with it. Like, as far as knowing what you want, like, when you that young, now looking back, it's like, bruh, you was maybe forgetful.
Man. Forgetful, bro. That's what I remember. Like, I wasn't like a, you know what I mean? Like, if you was to be like, dog, I remember there was a time, and maybe you was like that too. Like, because I remember there was a real moment when we was like, oh, we need to take the SAT to go to college. Like, we really didn't know. Like,
I remember being like, I'm not taking that.
Yeah, like, we really was like it was like a last minute, like, oh, we should take that.
I remember.
Like, but it was like we was playing sports. Why. We thought we was gonna go to NFL. But, like, without taking the SAT, like, that's what I mean by, like,
was we playing in college?
Well, I don't think we thought that far. That's what I'm saying. Maybe you was with me on the, like, we was both just hella naive, hella, like, not like, really sharp.
Especially once we figured out the music thing. Like, because when I think once I heard word of that audition that I had went on, I might have, like, low-key wrote football off, like, right at the end.
But I think this is before that, though, because we had went to, like, one of the dances. It was, like, Sadie Hawkins' homecoming or prom. Nigga, we went there like niggas was like,
it's gonna be tough to remember.
We took the SAT right after one of them dances. Like, we didn't take it serious at all. Like, there was no practice, none of that.
Nah, you remember that? I definitely remember going to Cal High.
That's where we took the SAT, yeah.
Taking that joint and just not being prepped, not taking the SAT prep course classes that niggas was taking.
That. And Adam was taking them joints.
Yeah.
It was on all that.
I don't even remember. I think the score was low too.
I couldn't even tell you the score. Like, I couldn't tell you, like, what I had got. Like, I was that's why I mean, like, thinking back, I'm like, bro, like, I just heard Naya, like, my daughter, I just heard Naya say she be actively changing classes. Like, she'll get into it with the art teacher and be like, I'm changing classes. Like, go to the counselor herself. And then she was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to summer school, so I don't gotta, like, take hella classes when I'm a senior. I'm like, bro, I was not doing that.
You can knock them out faster now.
But nah, I just think she's hella aware of, like, what she's trying to, like,
just in general.
I wasn't like, I don't like my chemistry teacher, I need another teacher. Yeah. Like, I was just like, all right, I gotta deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't, like, sharp. I don't know. Maybe we both wasn't that sharp.
I don't remember none of that. I don't know. I guess I just was a dude that was, like, rolling with whatever punches. I think I always just been like, what's good? All right, cool. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, with football, getting hurt. Once I got hurt, too, because I got hurt before SAT time.
You think? Maybe you took it again, though.
Because how did you take it at the same time as me?
Yeah, I'm telling you, we took it the same time. We was in high school. It wasn't like, you must have took it again. Yeah. You had to, Cause there was a time where I graduated, then I went to Cerritos, and you were still at, you know what I mean? You still, like, did your
So season. I took it early?
I guess. Maybe I was a senior, you was a junior. You feel me?
Niggas don't even remember the SATs,
yeah,
bruh.
Niggas, but that's what I mean. Like, there was just, like, this click that happened to me. I know for sure, like, there was a click where, you know, I was like, oh shit, life is for real. Like, I need to make some money. You feel me? And I remember vividly like telling myself like, well, if you're not smart now, you're gonna have to get smart real quick. And I literally like was tricking myself to believing, or even like to me becoming smart. Like every little single thing that I did that I felt like was smart, I was like, all right, I was smart. Like a smart person would do that. And to the point where it was like niggas was actually like, damn, nigga, you kind of smart. And then I just start believing it to the point where now niggas are like, that nigga even is a genius. Like that nigga, and I'm just like, yeah, I am. And you know, I just say that because so when you got hurt and then you tried out for the group, I can see how you would write off sports. You know what I mean? Like, especially because, you know, our school was like, we wasn't like that type of school that was getting niggas into D1s and, you know what I mean? We didn't even know about that type of, like, we didn't even know we was D1, D3.
Right.
We was just,
right.
We was just rocking, like, and then I feel like, you know, you getting in the group and then, you know, knowing that the manager had a group that was signed, and then, you know, y'all felt like that was y'all fate, and then you actually did, you know, get signed. So now at this point, we both out of high school, and we like, you know what I'm saying? You very much so doing it's like a whole new set of friends. I'm very much so like just running track at Cerritos, and going through it with my parents.
I remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah. And talk about what it was like while you was in the group with the new.
Man, that was like my feeling of I made it fast. You know, I think my immediate success kind of like gave me the wrong impression of the music business moving forward after that. You know, I was fresh out of high school, got in the group, and within like 4 to 6 months, I think we was signed to Epic.
Yeah.
So we was signed to Max Goose and Tommy Mottola, and you know had the shows that we was doing, traveling.
Yeah, I was touring with Ashanti.
Yeah, with Ashanti and Lloyd, and like had met all these people so fast. I just thought that was normal. You get in, you say, yo, I sing, you go to an audition, you get a record deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. And I think once that group kind of fell out, and then I got in another group, and I just kind of started the same routine over, and it wasn't the same thing. It was like, yo, what's up with the deal? Where the deal at?
Right.
6 years later, where the deal at? 8 years later, like, we still don't got no deal. It's been 8 years. I think that's when I was like, all right, I got to embark in something different and try to do it on my own. Because after Anu and then after O&E, it was just like, man, that's low-key 10 years of me just not necessarily digging into me, figuring out who Eric Bellinger is, and just being such a team player with whatever group I was in, because that's what I was used to with football. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's so funny, like, we, you know, because where we went to high school, the high school was called Santa Fe Springs High School, right? And it was predominantly Hispanic. And so I think me and E naturally had to adapt because, you know, this isn't at a time where you got Instagram and Facebook, or, you know, Black Planet isn't even exist at this time. So your direct source of like girlfriend is like your school. And if you don't like the 2-3 black girls that are there, you pretty much getting with a Mexican girl.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Hispanic girl.
Sure, you don't know what's down the street.
Yes, like you don't know your parents is like, I mean, you outside, but I mean, he ain't really like bumping into girls like that. So, and I say that because it wasn't until we got out of high school to where we started really hanging with black people.
Yeah.
So even
that was my culture shock.
Yes,
for sure.
That's why I bring this up, because Anu was like right after high school, and these are like real black niggas from LA.
From the hood.
And you just get thrown right in with them. Yeah. And they wearing Averex jackets, they full on like race jackets,
white tee, Air Force Ones.
I seen the transition like right in my for like, oh, we was bugged out in high school, like,
like and they was real ones. They let us know quick.
For sure.
I'm talking about, it was just like, are those puka shells?
Yeah.
I never forget.
They was on niggas tough.
I never forget.
And it was like that, like when I went to Cerritos, like I went to Cerritos College right after, and it was like a quick, like, but what was interesting was like, see, they wasn't spending as much time with me as y'all was spending. So I could camouflage it. Like I seen it right away, like, oh shit. Okay, let me figure this shit out. You know what I mean? And I was like able to like blend in, adapt. They didn't even know.
I also for sure remember, because that is within a 1 year time span. Yeah. So with me, because we was still hanging. So when I came to Cerritos,
you would be coming to.
It was a different name. Quick.
Oh, it was quick. It was like I was like all the way black. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like.
I was like, okay, he got the platinum FUBU with the hyperflight. What is he doing with his jeans when he tying them front?
Oh God,
you was with him.
Oh God, niggas
I was like,
adapted.
All right, well, I need to give me some platinum FUBU.
Oh God, niggas adapted quick. That shit was comedy, but nah. Yeah. I mean, fast forward. I mean, niggas did the new thing. That was so comedy too. Like it was. You know, I don't even know if you remember, it was when y'all niggas had signed the deal. I ain't even know what that meant, like signing the deal. I knew that it meant like, cause in them times it was like, nigga, once you got the deal, you was pretty much finna be on. Like, I mean, from what we, like, it wasn't too many, like, we didn't even know about flops, so it was just like, oh, he finna be on, all right, bet, no. And then, like, I remember the advance. We didn't even know that wording, but the advance they had gave niggas was like 2,000 each. You remember y'all niggas got that?
That joint was nuts.
And, like at the time though,
that was like, all right, it's 5 of us in the group.
You say I had to split the joint up,
and the manager, and production company, and I figured,
Yo, that was kind of like, I think a nigga really seen how much money that was. Nigga like went to the mall like one time. I think I went with you. And at the time, like the shit was so expensive. You know what I mean? That niggas like that Justin and Solo and them was wearing, that it was like, it was only like a fit or two. Yeah. And it was gone.
That's it.
But and then you know the only days. I mean, bless they heart. That was unfortunate. That was I mean that was unfortunate. Them niggas, them was some talented dudes. You know what I mean? Them was some talented dudes. You know that didn't work out. And then it was you know, shit. That's probably like when was you like thinking like, all right, I'm gonna just do solo? Cause I remember that was a time in the middle of it. How many years was it from the time when I was like, yo, let's just like fuck them niggas? Cause I was very much so on like, man, fuck them niggas, just come with me. Like what do you remember what year that was or how many years it was until you was like, all right, let's
maybe like after like 6 years. Like
it was 6 years after that?
I think. Cause I was in no, maybe like 4.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. Like,
cause if in like 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I would say like I could say about a year. Yeah. Cause we started in like 2010, so maybe like 2008. Would you say was the first time?
I think the first time had to been somewhere around 06. Like, cause I was well into money mode. Like I remember it like that. Like, cause 08 was kind of like when it was over. You know what I mean? Real estate just collapsed. You feel me? But it was like, you know, I had well over $1 million in my account at the time when I was approaching you. Like, yo, let's go ahead and do this, because you know what I mean. But because there was, it was like you it was very much so like I was doing my real estate thing, you was doing the group thing, so it was like we would see each other like when we could. You feel me? And then like I just remember like going to your house, like you had like an apartment in Gardena.
Or Hawthorne.
Hawthorne. Yeah. I just remember that water thing. That like you live right. And I would go over there and I'd be like, dang, bro, like I would like at the first couple times I really didn't say nothing. Like I just kind of looked, but I'd be thinking it like, damn, this how bro living. Cause like I knew what I was going back to. You feel me? So I'd be like, damn, bro. And then it wasn't until y'all moved from there to another place. And I think it was like a upstairs. And
that was like in Inglewood.
That was in Inglewood, and that's when I really was like, nah, he can't. That's when I started saying,
that was the last. I moved out of there after like 2 years, I think, and then that was it.
Yeah, cause it was like, it just wasn't making no sense to me. Like it was 4 of y'all living in a 2-bedroom. Like it was like a bed right there, a bed right here. And then I remember vividly you like learning how to do the Pro Tools, and you was like trying to record yourself in there, and I'm like, dog, I got 7 bedrooms, like you can't do this. You feel me? Like, and then that's when, like shortly after, you had came and was like, you know what I mean? I remember that. I remember it too. I was in Palm Springs, and I was like, yeah, man. You was like, man, I want to come talk to you about the group. And you came, and you know what I mean, like that house was nice, and you was like, what the fuck? And the crazy thing is like you had never really would come visit me. I would come visit you. So it wasn't a lot of times where you were seeing how we was actually living. Like you just kind of knew of it.
Yeah, I was in mode of.
Yeah, y'all was grinding. Yeah. Like y'all was like every day grinding, rehearsal. Like y'all was grinding, and so you didn't really know. Like you knew, cause I mean there was at one point where you had borrowed the house to do your birthday party. You was still in the group, and then you had came to my birthday party, which that was a big extravaganza. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, you had never really witnessed what the whole thing, like the whole everything. So when you came to Palm Springs, you was like, dang. This how you living? I'm like, bro, this what I kind of been trying to tell you. And you had the little letter. Oh yeah. You had it written out already, like what you was gonna tell them and shit like that. And then niggas was.
I think more for me it was more so even like just loyalty. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, because when you build that and like you got like a group and you working together and you really just in it together, you willing to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? You willing to go through whatever. It's like, yo, this is what I said I was gonna do, so this is what I'm gonna do. And I think it was like a thing where I just saw the light at the end of the tunnel, because I believed in what we was doing so much that it was like, it's just kind of come with it. You know what I mean? Like after a while, I just was believing in it even more.
Yeah.
And I had the memory of how easy it was to just get a deal
from the last one.
Yeah, from the last one. It's like, yo, all you gotta do is, impress the right person, and then they gonna give you a shot. And then I think once the group, it was like we would get the shots. You know what I mean? We would be in with everybody from Tank to Sean, from Boys to Men to Cool to Love. We was like making our way around to Akon. And then it's just like never connected. You know what I mean? So it was always like, damn, it was right there. And I think after a while, it was just like, at this point, I got to do this just for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting older. It's like, yo, I'd rather just start over, at least if it's only me.
Yeah.
I could be only mad at myself.
Yeah. Nah, knowing you now, from now to then, that was big for you to make that type of decision. You know what I mean? Like, because, you know, for me going through like being kicked out the house, and I had to kind of grow up a little faster. So I was a little more like, I gotta get mine. You know what I mean? But knowing you now, I'm like, yeah, that was a big decision for you. Like, you probably was thinking about that shit like a long time before you even.
Yeah, it wasn't like a.
Nah, it was like you was really, really thought about it, and then it was like, who was you with at the time? Because whoever you was with, you was with Dan, because she came with you to Palm Springs. Yeah. I remember
that was like. It was like a trip that at that time I think I had told them, or I was like, I think it was because it was like a December. It was like a 1 month. I remember I wrote like a 1 month, 30-day notice type thing. Maybe it was that letter.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was like, it had to been August or it had to been like August, because it didn't really take us that long to start like doing music, and because the first video was October 2010, so it had to been like August, because I remember us like, all right, leaving like Palm Springs and kind of like writing, kind of like figuring all it out, but then like we knew that we had that song that was just like it was a song, so we had a song, and we was like, well, let's shoot a video to it. Like, not on, so it was just like, we was just excited to just start. But, you know, the funny thing was like, shit, I felt like niggas didn't know what we was doing. Like, I mean, I know I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew from what it looked like on the outside looking in. You know what I mean? Because even when you was doing your music shit, I wasn't like...
Right.
I wasn't there, like, you know what I mean? I was just kind of like, I was doing y'all thing, and I just come support whenever I could. You niggas have a show. Because y'all niggas had a show, like, so many shows.
We was doing shows, and that's why I never really, like, talk too crazy about the group, just because, like, although I do feel like at the end it went real sour in a way that was mad disrespectful, you know what I'm saying?
I remember.
To me.
Yeah.
And that was another thing. That was even after. I think that solidified it. Like, they coming with some foul vibes. But when I was initially like, okay, cool, I gotta do this, you know, it was already getting tough to just coexist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you got the group, 4 people, it's like, bruh, it's tough to get on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So for a long time, that was like, all right, this ain't working. And I think once I mentally was like gone, I was just like, yeah, it's over. You know what I mean? 2010, starting afresh. And I think now 2020 is crazy to know that that was like a 10-year run. You know what I mean? And us doing this explanation now and just breaking down the story, I really feel like we right in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, me too. That's why I feel like it's moment. Like I wanted to do it. You know what I mean? Because it was like, I do feel like it's the middle, and then we'll do another one. Yeah,
like in another 10 years or something, like 2030. Yeah. You know, and it's interesting because to be forced to grow, you know what I'm saying? Like you were saying, it's like, that's really the best way to do it. You know what I mean? Like with you, it was like, oh man, I gotta do this, you know? And for me, it was like, oh wow, I had a manager who was making every decision for us. Every, you know, anything you could think of. It was like, okay, what should we do? What should we do? You know, decisions that he didn't even tell us he had made for us. Just on some like, all right, I'm going to do this for them because they don't know they young. So it was pros and it was cons. You know, even going back to me saying that's why I never really was like putting it down too much because I just learned so much.
Yeah. I remember early on, like we both agreed like not to ever talk about them.
Yeah.
Whether it was good or bad. Like we was just like, you know what? That's over.
Yeah.
We finna move on. Like let's put that all the way behind us. And then we really did that though. Like to the point where like this is probably the first interview that we have ever said O-N-E.
Yeah. Like
we never even, we was like, the instructions was always like, yo, don't even say their name.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, cause I don't want it to be like I don't want you to say anything good or bad. Just say a new and that's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, we did that. You know, and you know, I remember having to get out the contract. You know, and that's how the writing started. The writing started because of the bad contract. And, you know, it was just like something that, like you said, I was young and you was in and you didn't really know what was on it until it was time to get out. But luckily it wasn't that bad though. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, it was like a week period where like 7 days or whatever, where it was like we didn't know, and then we kind of, you know, we made an adjustment. And it was like a time limit. I remember like
2 years. What you mean?
Yeah, there was like a time limit where it was like at some point it was gonna be over. So it was like, all right, fuck it, we just gonna write until then, and we'll record, but we won't really like do it seriously. Like we'll just kind of like write, and and it was you know, like it was a gift, honestly, because we got to kind of do some research and learn things that we would have probably tried to skip if we were able to, but we just knew that we couldn't really aggressively put our music into a certain time. So, you know, even talking to this artist today, and she was just like, yeah, so I want to do a project, and I was listening to her previous work, and I was like, dang, you need like better writers and production, like, and she couldn't really understand what I was saying, but I quickly thought about us because I was like, well, dang, that's right. We started on the production and writing side. So within that, we met all the dopest producers and all the dopest writers. So we was able to see what that did. Instead of trying to write all the records yourself, we knew like from the top of the top how to make a really good album. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and I think I saw the experience in her quickly because I was like, oh, how the fuck would she meet the dopest writers and producers if she ain't been in hella sessions?
You just want to do music.
Yeah, you just want to do me. You don't really know who's who and like what type of records you call Jazzy for, what type of records you call D-Mouth for. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a education that I feel like we got that was priceless, that we probably wouldn't have did if that contract wasn't like that. It was an interesting time though, because we definitely both being ignorant to how music worked and how the money worked. When we was getting these, we definitely, every single song that we put out, we thought we was gonna be rich.
Oh yeah.
Like
I was like, yo, this one gonna do it.
Like every single
this song
one.
Is crazy.
Like I remember us like, even like the first placement, like it was Ellen DeGeneres' artist. Like it was the little white kid, Grayson Chance, and it was Ellen's artist, and we was like, there's no way this isn't gonna go. She was having them on the show. We was like, yo, this is gonna go. Not knowing that even if it did go, it wasn't that much money there.
Right.
Why do you think that people think it's money in writing?
Just because it's been said so much, like, oh, you good? You wrote it. You know what I mean? Like, people think that's really big. Like, oh, you good? You wrote it. Like, oh, you the one. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, yeah, you good if you got somebody that really know what to do with that. Otherwise, you just wrote another song and ain't nothing gonna happen for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and I think just knowing the business now, it's like a lot of the songs that we was writing early, we didn't understand that the single was what made the money.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, we just was doing a lot of album fillers
mm-hmm.
and thinking that, you know, like, there's money there.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't even learn quickly that there was no money there. Like, we kind of learned, like, the third year, like, oh.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's no money coming?
I don't know why that. I think because we were introduced to it as that was just how we were introduced to our shot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, our connection was through a songwriter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So once Erica was like, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do, and we was receiving the success and everybody celebrating what we were doing, it felt like we was winning.
Like, oh, the money is gonna cut. Like, once people are happy like this, normally,
and then it would always be explained like, no, writers get it on the back end.
Right.
Waiting on the back end. Like, I think the back end is gonna pull up anytime.
Dog, that shit was. I started noticing like, wait a minute. I tell a couple of people this all the time. Like, there was a time where it was like a cycle. Like, we would go in with Chris, finish the album, he would go on tour. Then we would go in with Usher, finish the album, he would go on tour.
Mm-hmm.
Go in with Justin Bieber, finish the album, he would go on tour. And like, Chris would come back and I would notice, like, oh, he got like 2 more cars. Like 2 more new cars. He moved to another house. Like, trinkets is coming in. Like, I'm like, dang, that nigga must have went up. Meanwhile, we in the same whip, same crib, same everything. I'm like, then I see Ush. He come in with a new black jacket, diamond chains, rings. You like, you seeing it like, they really getting money. I'm like, nah, we gotta put out some music.
Yeah. Cause
we gotta go on tour too. And I mean, we was always putting out music, but you know, we just knew that we couldn't aggressively go.
Yeah.
But then when it was time to like aggressively grow and go hard on our own projects, we was probably at Born to Sing Volume 2.
Yeah.
When it just kind of clicked with us writing all them records, I was like, okay, we just gonna leverage our relationships. Cause it would have been, I don't think it would have been realistic for us to ask for a feature. We just kind of knew that was far-fetched. Like,
from those artists.
Yeah, from Usher, Bibbs, like Chris. It was like, so the most we could do was like, hey, can you just at least say the album is hard?
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, at least just tweet it. That was where we was at in the world. Like, Twitter was the only.
I got you.
Like, so once, you know, when we would have the different, I would have a different talks like, hey, so we just need this, or we just need this, we just need this, you know what I mean? And then like, it just kind of clicked. And that's when blogs was big too. And then blogs was kind of noticing like, oh, like Usher shouted out Eric. You know what I mean? Like Rick Ross. That was with the Rick Ross and Usher when we did. What was that?
Let Me See.
Yeah, Let Me See. So like, that was that. And I remember like, you know, us just kind of like, you know, I see it in the newer artists coming up. Like, dang, I remember when we was happy about like a blog posting or like getting a certain interview or meeting a certain person. And dog, I remember we would have talks about like before we got to the session with like us or Chris, or like it would be a real discussion like, all right, so like how we gonna get the pick? Like, oh right. Like how we gonna get the pick? Like so you gonna ask or am I gonna ask? Like how you feeling?
Niggas just been too cool for too long.
Yeah, like
niggas know we living in a social media day and age. You know you gotta get that picture, but he's just not
trying to ask.
Yo, can I get a picture with you, bro?
Not trying to do that.
As much as it's important for you to get that photo, it was a lot of opportunities and a lot of times we was around people and never got no photo.
Oh yeah. It was a lot. I mean, we started getting better at it. You know what I mean? But like, it was really tough for us. Like to the point.
We really waited. We really put the time in on some like definitely. When it's lit, it's lit.
I think the difference is like talking to other artists about their careers, and like I think the difference is that you was really just trying to get there. You know what I mean? You didn't really care by means of in which way. We both knew that you was talented and we just needed to showcase it. And so what I mean is like when you actually broke as an artist, before that, you can listen to all the songs before that. We never really did up tempos. Like that was very foreign. Like to do an R&B up tempo, that was just like that wasn't a thing. It was like R&B was very mid and ballad. Like, and so
that's definitely Born to Sing Volume 1, 2, and 3.
It's Born to Sing Volume 1, 2, and 3 is R&B at its core, and somewhere during the middle of Born to Sing Volume 3 and the Rebirth was like a point where it was like, okay, how does this thing really work? Cause that's just me. I just know that there's like a real way, and then there's an outsider. Like all you gotta do is, and then there's a really like this is what you're supposed to be doing. And at that time, what we were supposed to be doing was making a radio hit. Yeah, like we were supposed to be making.
That was the thing. Like, let's get it. We need a radio song. We need a club song.
Yeah, we need a club song. We need and for you, that's why I say like you was like, okay, cool, let's do that. But I've seen it where artists is like, nah, I don't want to do that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just talking to somebody today, and I was like, man, you need like some dope writers, and she was like, nah, I want to write the records by myself, and I was like, yeah, then you gonna stay right there. Right. Like that's what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And you was willing to.
That's what separates longevity from time short lived for any artist. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's it. You know, and it's interesting how you said that it was a gift for that contract to have that in it. You know, to where it was like, all right, you can't, if you do this, whatever. And then the writing was just like okay, well, we could write. Because that got me, that's when I learned. Yeah. When I learned how to write a song.
Like, it was crazy that we even doing this today, because this wasn't like nothing that we was just like, all right, we're going to do this on March. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, hey, you at the house? All right, cool. I'm going to pull up and we're going to do this. But today was really a day where I was talking to the girl, and I'm like, dang, she really... Because I'm at a place now where I'm like, I'm not about to guide you through the whole, like, you know what I mean? I'm just going to tell you, like, what you need to do, but I'm not about to be making the whole play. Like, so I was just thinking in my head, like, dang, bro, like, how would she...
get the joints?
Like, how would she figure out who the writers was? And, like, she would really have to, like, do homework, then actually...
Yeah. Reach out
and meet like, I was like, oh, okay, okay, we right off the bat, like, meeting Danger, like,
we in there,
like, we
that's what I'm saying. I was Erica, Erica was like, yeah, come with me. Come in here.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, Big Boy Sessions, and then after, and encouraged me to get their contacts. Get their contacts. Work with them. Tell them you want to come back. Come back, even when I'm not here. And then that took me to be like, yo, I want to do this. I want to go to the studio. I want to get better. I want to write. And if not having that, I feel like any artist or any person that's just gonna be writing their own songs, like, you competing with professionals. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's people that do this. You competing with Sia. You feel me? Like, you want to compete with Sia and like The Dream, you're not really gonna have a chance because you gotta like actually really. You can get lucky. I feel like anybody could get lucky with a hit. But you don't know the formula. You'll never be able to repeat it. You only gonna have that one song. That's why a lot of people can't redo it because they just was going aimlessly rather than going intentionally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
just got lucky. Like, yeah, that's a hit. Stars align, but make it again.
Yeah, you never see him again. We done seen so many people go up and down and up and down. Like it's in like a repetitive, thing. But you know, like you were willing to say, you know what, like yeah, I'll do these club records to get the attention that I need. Yeah. And then show them, you know, what I really do. You know what I mean? Right. And you know, that's when kind of things started changing. Like that's when, especially when I Don't Want Her. Like when I Don't Want Her came, then life changed for us, and it was slowly already changing. Just because like Born to Sing Volume 3 was kind of like, it was getting some attention. You know what I mean? Usher was on an intro.
Yeah. And Will was going crazy.
Yeah, like so we was definitely, you know, getting there, but we was just missing that one piece, and then the stars kind of aligned with just us meeting Midi Mafia. Yeah. Them like having a component where they had a relationship with Yessie, a relationship with Troy Marshall, Yessie Ortiz is who I'm talking about, and you know, they really guided us through that, what we needed. So at least we knew what the goal was. Like, if we get this, then we can go. You know what I mean? And that nigga Pun,
we just trusted them. Yeah, we trusted the people, and they was the right people.
Yeah, for sure. But it also was logical. It made sense. Everything on the radio was that. You feel me? So it was logical too. It was like, all right, yeah, I get it. Like, all right, we'll do that. That nigga Pun came through with that motherfucking I Don't Want Her track along with the Problem. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And at the time, that nigga Problem had his shit booming, and he knew kind of how to write too. Keep it 1,000.
Sure.
Because in that session, he was like guiding you through the structure of like how to write it and what to do. You know what I mean? Like, and then we had went to James' boat party not too long, like probably like 2 days before that or a day before that. So at the time, hella niggas was looking at your girl, and you was proud of that. Yeah. And then that was on your head. Like, we left that party saying I'm gonna make a song about if they not looking at my girl, I don't want her. I remember. And then the next beat was the Pun beat, and then that nigga just was like, he did that, and that night I remember Eric always used to be like, man, when we finally figured out that we needed a single, he was like, well, how you gonna know if it's a single? Like, how you gonna know? I was like, bro, we gonna know. And that night, when the song was done and we was playing it back, I said, bro, watch. This is a single. And like, when we took that joint to Yessie, and bro, that joint went crazy. Like, they was playing it crazy, and I don't think we really we couldn't have truly understood what they meant. to get played on the radio like that, because that was like our first attempt at a radio record. Yeah, honestly, like that was our first attempt at a up tempo. Yeah, and I mean, you know, that was another phase of education for us, because it was like we quickly understood. Like we did. First of all, we didn't have no label or nothing, but you know, we had guidance. Yeah. Like we had the guidance of Midi Mafia and Troy and Yessie kind of guiding us. So, you know, they was telling us what we had to do, and then we just kind of like had to do it. Like in a sense of like, all right, y'all niggas need 50 grand now. Like, go get it. It's like, all right, right. Here goes 50 grand. Like, you know, that joint. You know what I'm saying? That joint went crazy. Like, I remember.
For sure. That got us overseas. That got us bookings in the clubs. You know, it changed everything. You know, one song really changed everything. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, I remember. I remember, like, at some point just thinking, like, dang, this is really for real. Like, they really pay us to go to the club. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and as the manager, like, you're like, negotiating as if you don't want to go, but knowing like, bro, we would go at this for point. Free. Like, right, you know what I'm saying? But like, you're gonna give me $5,000. Okay, we'll go. You know what I mean? Like,
we'll go. And you're gonna give us bottles,
right? Like, we gonna be able to like invite the homies and all that. Like, all right, let's do it. That shit was crazy. Like, you know, and I'm not even sure. I would love to hear from you where we were with like signing a major deal or not.
Back then,
I don't want to be biased. Yeah, back then.
I just remember having I Don't Want Her, you know, going, and at that time, definitely wasn't thinking about a major because it was already doing good. You know, the songs on the radio, I'm like, oh, snap, we traveling. And I think after, you know, I Don't Want Her kind of slowing down, you know what I'm saying? Then it was just like, all right, what's going on? You know, I remember the confusion because it's like we had Problem on there. Then we got French Montana on there. So I was just thinking like, okay, now it's just going to automatically hit the charts. You know what I mean? Because I'm always thinking about the charts, like top 10, like number 1. You know what I mean? Because the songs that I'm writing for the other artists, they go number 1. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that one went number 1. What's the difference? You know what I'm saying? It's not a lack of talent. They sound the same. They both sound good. But that's all. That was, I think back then I was just like, man, we need to get with somebody. And I feel like with the 300 situation with Lior, it was like, damn, I thought that was going to do it. But we did kind of take a little while and we lost some momentum and we couldn't get
the... Oh, yeah. You know I never, ever, like, blamed them for that. That was, you know what I mean? That just was the discrepancy of, you know, getting the Problem verse cleared and, you know, there was that where I thought it was all good, but it, you know, it's just...
That's for me, like, I think a lot of my up and down will come because we'll have everything, but then the one thing that I would give it to and saying like, oh, that's why it didn't happen, it would be a very credible thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, but we really could have used that clearance for that verse sooner. You know what I mean? Right, like, I always will understand when my window shut and why. It was always it wasn't never a thing that, you know, it was always easy to be a real one. Like, bruh, that's what happened. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, because by the time we got to 300, it was like dwindling and, you know, the French Montana verse almost didn't matter at that point. Right, and it was love, man. Like, That's why, like, I always had a respect for bro. Like, even though we never really met him and never really got to kick it with him, but it's like he did the verse for free. Like, he knocked it out quick. Like, never met us or nothing. And then I was like, shout out to Austin too. Like, that was an Austin play. Austin Rosen, he linked us with 300, and he probably the one made this shit happen. But I mean, he still could have been like, nah. Yeah. And then, I mean, that was like the search of like, all right, we need another joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
same formula. We ain't changing nothing.
Yeah, let's just get
boom. At that point, we was pumping them out, 94 BPM. You know what I'm saying?
Mustard like, beat, League of Stars type beat.
Yep. Even with those situations, it was like, I know why that one died out. You know what I'm saying? It was always something. He was like, all right, either it's the money. Either it's like the budgeting side, either it's the sample. I remember they both used the Uchiwali sample.
Yeah, it was Fabulous and Chris.
Yeah.
They used the Uchiwali sample.
And we had put everything into that.
Oh my God. Let me tell you, dog. What was that called? Focus on You? Focus. We have I Don't Want Her. It's dwindled down. We know we need a new single. And so we get Eric knows that he wants this Uchiwali sample. At the time, we loved D-Mal. I mean, he made a lot of the records on the Rebirth, which is like a classic at this point. Like, people love the Rebirth. I Don't Want Her is on the Rebirth just because it just went crazy. It didn't by any means fit.
Right.
That's probably like the only up tempo.
Yeah.
But you know, we know that up tempo is what the radio wants. You know what I mean? So Eric goes in the studio with D-Mal, really coaches him through, you know, what he wants. Jay Murphy is there, kind of coaching as well. He's a DJ, so just giving the DJ's point of view.
Yeah.
You know, you right. Focus on You. At this point, we kind of understand the mistakes that we made on I Don't Want Her. You know, not really having the money up front. You know, clearances, sample clearance, all of these type of things. So now we have focused on You. We have the budget secured. We have the features cleared, everything. The sample cleared, and 2 days before we released the record, I forget the dude's name, but the dude had the Villains clothing line. And he now like kickboxes. S. Dot calls me. He say, "Hey Nieman, man, I was in the studio with Chris Brown and Fabulous, man. They got the same song, bro. They about to put it out." And I'm like, no, they don't. That's what I'm thinking in my head. But I'm hearing them, and I'm like, if you know S. Dot, you're like, he's not really lying. He don't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't really give a fuck, because I'm like, bro, like, everybody is ready. Like, the radio is ready. We had the PD fly from Denver to hear the record. Like, we played it for all the PDs. They ready to rock. We got the budget. You know what I mean? I think by now we done shot the video, paid for 2 Chainz to come. Like, you know what I mean? We done paid 2 Chainz travel, stylist. Like, I'm a lot of money into this record already. So I'm like, fuck it, let's just see. You know what I mean? Well, you know what I mean? What can we do? So we put the record out. They put their shit out. And I'm not even by any means at this point thinking we about to compete. I didn't even get that far. I was just like, well, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was like where we were in our career. it was really like a stalemate. Like the radio wouldn't play their record and they wouldn't play ours. It was just like the relationships was like, you know what I mean? It was like they was like, we don't know what to do, so we just not gonna play both of them. And I mean, bro, we was like. We was like at least at that point. I mean, I probably was like 200,000 in. You feel me? Like
I remember that was another one of those things though that was like how I was saying we would do one thing and then because of what would happen, it would be like I get it though. It was always a real easy pill to swallow and like, all right, come on, we just got to do it again because we see where we went wrong. It was never like we didn't know what happened. It was like always like, all right, cool. We just gonna better ourselves the next go around. You know what I'm saying? And with us being so unprepared with I Don't Want Her, that's why we was on that. We was on one because with I Don't Want Her, it was like we did the song. Yes, he had it. Bruce and them Swift, they came with shoot the video. It was on the radio in like 2 days. So after that, it's like, oh, y'all need a video. We gotta get a video. Oh, y'all need a photo shoot. Or y'all didn't. Right. It was like everything was just catch up. Oh, y'all got the clearance? No, we don't got it cleared yet. Like everything was like we playing catch up. Man. So Focus on You, we was like, oh, we gonna make sure. We paying all this money before the song was even out. We did the exact opposite. And with that wrench being thrown last minute, it was just like, what?
It was wild, bro. It was like heartbreaking, bro. But I mean, I don't really know like how soon after, but it couldn't have been that far after, like when we got Valet. And
it was like, we need another one.
All right, I got it. We need another one, man. We need another one. And Valet. Well, somebody sent you Valet.
And now A1 came through with it, but it was a song.
Right. No, definitely. I just wanted to get off who brought the song and you know what I mean, how we got the song, like the actual the beat, actual whatever.
Oh, Pleasure P. No.
Yeah. No. It was A1. A1 brought the song, and then I didn't know A1. I never met him, none of that. I never met Jay White, none of them. But I heard the song and I always been a real one. So I was like, you know what? I love the beat. I don't like the song. So, you know what I mean? And I just knew at the time, like, in Pleasure P, like, I knew him low key before I even started doing music with you because he would, like, JoJo, my boy JoJo and Justin. Justin was in the group anew with Eric and JoJo. We had met early. This nigga was working at Best Buy with JoJo. They was friends with Pleasure P. Yeah. So even me having a relationship with him, I was always that dude that would just be 100,000% honest, and I was just like, yo.
Cause it was his song, huh?
It was. I don't know whose song it was. I didn't really know the politic on it. I was just like, and that's how I was at that time. I just take your song. Like if I heard it and I liked it, it was our song. It was gonna be our song. It was just meant that much to me because we needed the songs at the time. That's all I was on was what we needed. And at the time, I was just like, man, I just don't think it's gonna work with P and T Fly on it. Like I just think that, you know what I mean, like if we gonna really go with the record, it's gonna have to be some bigger guys because not because of them, but because of where we was in our career. Like I just didn't know if that was gonna work. And when we brought it to 300 though, and the radio team, they was like, yeah, we love the record, but you need to put another guy on it. So I think we put Fetty Wap on it. Raina, she was at so Fetty was at 300. He was booming. And then Raina was like, oh, Fetty's in LA. You know what I mean? See if you could set it up. At the time, we was making a little change. And Fetty was like, bro, just give me 10 and we'll rock. And that nigga was the biggest shit. That was like love. That was love. So then we gave the nigga the 10. He hopped on it, and then we took it back to Shadow and D was the radio dudes. I was talking to them niggas like every day. Mm-hmm. So Shadow and D was like, yo, I think you need one more person on that
element. Yeah.
So then
I just happened to be with Chains.
Yeah.
In Atlanta.
We was in Atlanta, and how the fuck we was even like we was at the street exec's office, and like we was talking to Tech, and then Chains was like, "Hey, come to the stew, his stew."
Yeah.
First we was at his studio, like it was like
the street execs, with the team.
Well, we was at different days.
This is like Chains was like, come through to the other studio, watch the game.
Watch the game. So niggas was watching the game, and then from there we left.
No, from there did we leave or did
we did. We went to the
the other studio.
We went to the street exec studio and recorded it.
Back to the studio.
Yeah, we went there and recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
and he just did that off love.
Because what
happened when Focused on You.
Right.
He felt our pain.
I think he knew like
damn, they just got a little.
I think it was that, and 2 Chainz is intelligent enough to know like Fetty is booming, and they got Fetty on it, so this shit gonna probably go. You know what I mean? And his taste for music is good, and so I remember that really well too, because that was the like. When them little what's them shits called slingshot. Yeah. He wanted one of them bad.
Yeah, I remember.
He was talking about it earlier in the day.
I remember that.
And then next thing you know, they brought his shit to the studio, to his studio. Then he drove it to the street execs. The police pulled him over on the way there.
Jeez.
and then niggas like, but he was on some like. They just seen he was 2 Chainz and let him go on some shit. You feel me? And then nigga, I think he banged out like 2 or 3 songs, and he played us. I think like one song that went crazy. I forgot.
Oh yeah, Watch Out Little
Bitch. Yeah. He played us that before it came.
We felt ahead of everybody in the club.
Like, we was like, "Ooh, this finna go crazy."
You already know, nigga.
And then Valet was going nuts. Like Valet went crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody on the radio team, you know what I mean, from it was like that, and they fuck with me too, cause I had always, we started with Troy, and I was just a loyalist like that, to where I was like, nah, Troy gotta be on the radio team. And then I wanted Sonny D to be on the radio team, and Shadow and D, they was just good sports about it, cause they for sure, I don't think needed Sonny D and Troy, but they was just like, nah, we'll fuck with them if that'll make you feel comfortable. And they did their thing. And what happened
with Valet?
Yeah,
with Valet, I look at it like we never did a video.
We just couldn't get the video off. Like, it was.
That's what I'm saying. I got the answer to everything.
It was just too much power.
I mean, like we gotta get Chainz. We couldn't get them niggas at the same time. Even trying, like, all right, we'll go over there. It just was like,
it was tough. Cause at the time, I mean, Fetty is like really booming, Trap Queen. Like, then he put out the joint with Drake, and he had like 3 joints going at the same time.
Yeah, again.
And then crazy. I think a little bit before then is like. When I realized, cause I kind of knew like more money was gonna come in because we was independent, but I didn't feel it until like after Focus on You, when it was like the checks was coming monthly, but they was the larger checks that we had never really seen, like $30,000. So I'm like thinking like, oh, it's gonna come one time, and then it's like not gonna come for a while, and then you get the statement the next week, and it'd be like 37,000. It'd be like
again.
I'm like, you know, like a part of you like is like wants to ask like, is this gonna come every month? Right. You know what I mean? Or like
I asked you.
Yeah, and then like I'm like, I don't know. Like I think. You know what I mean? And because we just not used to seeing that amount come.
Right. This is 5 years ago. It's like 4 at least.
So
it's more than that.
Yeah. This is like has to be like 7.
Yeah.
7 or 6. Yeah. Maybe 6 or 7.
20. We put out a winner in 2013.
Yeah. So then I'm like, dang. This is really
like,
this is really gonna happen so then and that's the reason why I like structured the 300 deal the way that I did, and I didn't want to do like a deal because it was like, dog, you know how much money we like.
People had the option, or they were signing people for major deals, and then they were signing people for
they was just distribution. Yeah, so I was like, like
that was another thing I always questioned, like, because when they had the Migos, was the Migos signed to them as a major deal?
I don't know. I really never knew who was like I never knew what deal was what, but I knew that people was like signed to Atlantic. Like when you were signed to Atlantic in them, like it was, I knew you was like signed to a major label. Like. But I never really asked like who was, who wasn't.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But it was like once we seen that monthly come, I never wanted to sign ever after that. Like I was like, nah, like this is the number is just gonna keep going up and up. And that was a time when there was no like they're gonna give you an advance for. You know, like now, how we could just get in advance for whatever we want and just recoup it. It was just that wasn't even a thing. So it was like, I never even wanted to take one. Like I just wanted to just see the monthly number because at this point, Valet comes out, and I'm like, dog, we making $40,000 a month. Like I never want to stop that. Like, and so. I think what happens is after that, we're thinking I'm out of the 300 deal. Capital is just hire No ID to do Priority Records. And Fuzzy was courting us to go over there, and what I felt like was attractive was that that was the first time that I had heard somebody giving you a budget to do an album, but just distribution.
Right.
And I was like, wow, they have No ID. I like Fuzzy. They have a budget. I'm gonna look at this. So I'm looking at it, and me being me, I'm like, but they're so new at just independent and distribution, and I'm really good at foresight. You know what I mean? I'm really good at like, okay, what is it gonna look like? Like, how is it gonna? And I just knew for some reason, like, nah, they not gonna have it. It's just such a new space for them.
Yeah.
And I wasn't gonna be the guinea pig. So I remember you saying like, well, maybe somebody else will give us a budget. Like maybe that's like the new thing. And I really remember me being like, nah, they're not gonna do that.
Not for no distribution only.
Right, not distribution only. And then I went to Nieman and Ghazi and I said, hey, they wanna give us some money. Will y'all give us some money? And they was like, yeah. And they was like, well, how much do they want to give y'all? And I don't remember the number, but I remember Nieman and Ghazi blew the number out the window. And then I remember Lior calling me like, yo, like, y'all leaving? Like, what's up? Like, and now I have the Empire deal. You know what I mean? So I have all the numbers, and they know, Ghazi and Nieman, you niggas know, they messed up on the contract. I seen it. Mm-hmm. So they gave us the advance money. They wanted to put a 50% split, but they didn't. They left it at 20. Mm-hmm. So now Lior's like, yo, come over here. And I'm like, Lior, you gotta change the split. But this is in an email now. I'm like, yo, you gotta change the split or I gotta rock with Empire. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's, I think we did
Eric B
for President series. Mm-hmm. That's when we went back and did those. At that time, it was like, I think you was well off into who you were. You know what I mean? Like, because early on, you was definitely finding yourself. You know what I mean? It was definitely like a, you know, because you had just got off of being with the manager that made all of the decisions. You know what I mean? So you were still kind of used to that. And so I just kind of adopted the, like, not as much as he did, but I did kind of like take the lead, like, okay, well, yeah, let's do this, let's wear this. And then I think around Eric B for President 1 is like when you was like, all right, no, let me get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even let me get it, but this is kind of like how I want to.
Confident to try new things.
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I always think, and I never really talk about it, but the Eric B for President 1 and 2 series did really, really well. Mm-hmm. Like, really, really well. And I always, like, try to go over, like, what was we doing during that time? Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think it was just like also like coming off of Valet, it was still like a momentum there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think like we had a big core fan base at that point. Like, and it just kind of like those songs was like streaming crazy. And streaming was like so new. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think people was like looking at streaming numbers like, oh, this song is streaming really well. Like, I don't even think that existed at that time. Like,
right. It was like, what's that? Anyway, let's go to this radio meeting.
Right. Like, what's the radio like song?
Spotify? Though? What?
Right. But, you know, it was such an interesting time because you gotta imagine at this point, like, the monthly check is so high that we're not even really tripping on a radio record no more at this point. Like, it's not like we're chasing the radio record anymore. It was almost like, well,
I was into like theme album mode by then.
Yeah, it was like, what do I want to do?
Yeah, very
much so. What do I want to do? Like, don't really have to do what, you know what I mean? And radio was changing. It was definitely not a mustard beat anymore. It was, I don't even know at that point what it was.
Yeah, I remember Ray Shrimmer going crazy to the point where they was like making announcements like, we don't need radio, and you know what I'm saying, like, we hot, you know what I'm saying, and that became a real thing, you know what I'm saying, like, whoever's the hottest, we playing your song. It ain't got nothing to do with the format of the music no more. It's really like, it started transitioning into who's hot.
Like popular.
Who was
popular. Yeah, because in the midst of it, like, Media Takeout was becoming like really big, like, because that was like the first before Shade Room, like that was like the, you know what I mean, like the big blog, you know what I mean, and that was when that was new, and then that's when it started kind of like shifting to where you kind of had to be mentioned in lifestyle now, you know what I mean, and I think with us, we struggle with that because up until then, even this might be around the time like even the way that we handled things wasn't like how you handle things in a media takeout type of world. Mm-hmm. Like we had a discrepancy with Nicki. We kind of took like the apologetic route to it.
Let's keep it going from right there, but not to formulate your formula, but you need to be more interactive in your responses, much more colorful, or else it really just leaves the camera on just Nieman for a long time. That's it.
Okay.
All right.
I'll just maybe interject more.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Just interject a little bit more.
Okay. But yeah, we was having a discrepancy with Nicki Minaj over the Anaconda record, and we handled it very politically correct, not in a way where we like, and that's just the type of people we was, where we just, we didn't want to. And I mean, you can argue that I was like, cause I remember Two calling me like, she said she want to say our name and all kind of shit, and I was like, well, that's kind of good if she say our name, let her do it, you know what I mean? But then, you wrote like I don't know, it was just like an explanation, and it was very politically correct, and like that was I think like the transition to like lifestyle and just like gimmick, and that was very new for you. You know what I mean? To where it was like you were introduced in a way where it was very like, if I do this type of song and have this type of BPM, I'm good. You know what I mean? And then we transitioned, or just the generation just transitioned into very like gimmicky. And it's crazy. Fetty might have started that joint because that one eye thing was so new to niggas. Right. That like.
Nah, when niggas seen Fetty's eye, at first it was like, is it for real? Because it was so many different things that people was starting to do for attention. We couldn't really tell, and it was so early in time as far as society just accepting something that was less than perfection. Yeah. Everything was like the model gotta be this bad, or what I'm saying, like not having
super polished.
Yeah, not having an eye was, it just didn't seem real. Like, nah, there's no way. You know what I'm saying? And then once you start seeing it, he was like, oh wow. And then you started seeing the chubbier girl, you feel me, like catch a single, and you start seeing this like, okay, we in another time, and then, with the gimmicks, after that passed, then it moved into the streams, and I think that's what brought it full circle. But for us to be able to identify and navigate through each transition of the music industry, I think is what kept us going and what separated us from the peers and the people that was around us. You know what I'm saying?
Because we was definitely
always able to identify the wave quick.
Yeah, and adapt quickly, very quickly. I just think that we was just adapting in our way. It wasn't like we was oblivious to the climate change. We just was adapting in our own way. You know what I mean? And what you was comfortable with doing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because, and that part too, for sure. Being our way, comfortable, and knowing that it was just like, man, we gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? I think I always just had in my mind like, all right, this is where we gonna get to. I don't necessarily know what it looks like, but that's where like the faith thing also plays a part. Like, I know, and I'm working this hard, and the people that I was coming in contact with wasn't just saying, yo, we like your music. It was like, yo, you're my favorite artist. You know what I'm saying? And I think having people that tell you that you're their favorite, even though you may not get it from the world, when you get it from somebody, it makes you feel like the world. You know what I'm saying? So all those, cases and situations where someone would let me know that what I was doing touch them in their life or help them get through a situation, it let me know, like, all right, it's possible because it's happening. You know what I mean? But on the grand scale, it's just like more people just gotta know. More people just gotta know. And I think I always would remember that we don't have the same type of push. So I would consider the extra time it would take to get the word out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like, all right, cool. Well, it's just going to take us a little bit longer because we kind of promoting to one fan at a time. I adapted that mentality of one fan at a time rather than me being placed in this big light. You know what I mean? Like a cosign error. That we skipped that time too. It was a moment when it was like you had to have a cosign. You had to have a cosign. Even through all that, we ain't never really had that either. So to do it all ourselves, I look at it like pound for pound. I just always wore like nobody's even doing what we doing. Nobody's writing songs for other people. Nobody. So I was able to, I don't know, just feel the spirit of victory. Yeah. Even though the world may not have been able to even understand, you know what I mean? Especially not knowing like we independent, but we get everything though. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when people don't know that, it's just like, man, y'all just don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just up until now where people are like really seeing the fruits and they're like really giving it up. Like, oh, y'all niggas was actually doing it right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just barely right now. You know what I mean? And I think they don't even know to the extent of what it is. They just know what we showing them. And that do be like a part. It be bothering me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I'm not one that's like, oh, well, it's okay if they don't know. Like, I want niggas to know the level in which they need to be respecting me. You know what I mean? Like, I need niggas to know, like, now we actually not even close to same, like, we not in the same tax bracket at all. We not the same, like, it's not the same, bro. I'm sorry. Like, and that did, it do be bothering me. Like, bro, like, you niggas is not like us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get a monthly check that even look close to, like, the monthly check that we receive is what niggas make, like, yearly. You feel me? Like, y'all niggas don't even know. You, like, even major artists ain't even never seen a royalty check. You feel me? Like, so to me it just be like, you know, that's probably a part of the reason why I want to start talking more to the people. Like, yo, like, yeah, you know, we really like are, you know, trailblazed a moment where we did do the independent route and it wasn't popular at the time we was doing it, and now it's very popular. And we was doing it so long that, yeah, like, we reaped the benefits, and the benefits was like, we own all our masters. We get 80% of the royalty, you know what I mean, of every single album, but we got like 20 albums. You know what I mean? Like, every album that we put out don't make no less than $30,000 a month. You know what I mean? So you get to adding it up, nigga, and then niggas getting to talking to you like you. This is like, right. You know, yeah. I mean, a lot of y'all don't know that I be looking down on you niggas. Like, I really be like, bro, is you serious? Like, I just budget in a way that's conservative to where if I was ignorant and irresponsible, yeah, it would look like crazy, but niggas could go to sleep for 5 years and we'll be straight. And that's, I'd rather have that comfort than, you know, we still got everything everybody else got.
Right. I think that with people knowing, I just never thought it would bring anything more than the wrong attention. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was just like, shit, what is it gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you know that information, and now you can either respect it and just stay in the lane, or do something crazy. You know what I mean?
Well, I had been there before, so I knew what it did. I knew that it was another respect that came with having money. Like, I was the, you know what I mean? I was the young kid from Compton that had the money. I knew what came with it. So when we kind of, you know, and with the music, it was kind of always like that. Like, I always let you kind of lead with the music. Even in the sessions, I would never speak. Like, niggas never really even heard me talking till later years. Like, dang, I didn't even know you really. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would always let you lead. I was just like, music is like kind of his thing. I'm just helping him with his thing. You feel me? But I always knew what come with. It was everything come with money and niggas knowing you have money. You treat niggas totally different. You feel me? It's a whole nother respect that come with somebody knowing you got money and somebody knowing you don't have money. We do it naturally and knowingly, doing it to people.
Right.
Like us, as nice as we are.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean by that too, for sure. You know, with having it, I definitely feel like it was like a parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, cool. You know, they got this, they got this, they got this, they got that, but I still think that it wasn't never to the point where they knew the depth of it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just being able to do it the right way too. You know what I mean? And wait until it was like, you own it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, saving in order to get it and getting the credit right to get it, you know, to all the different things that is just like, man, like, we really, really did do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? We really did, you know, set out these vision boards, and then we got to make a new one. You know what I'm saying? Because we getting everything on the vision board, and I think, you know, the hard work and the determination and just the knowing that that's what is gonna happen. Like, we gonna be there. We just kept pushing. It was like it happened and we didn't realize it. You know, I know even with you recently, you was like, bro, like.
Yeah, no, this definitely be like the definite like mind shifts. You know what I mean? Where it was just like, you know, just like start suddenly realizing like, oh shit, like we really don't have to do anything anymore. Like we can just chill out. Like that monthly number is just gonna, you know what I mean? And then I didn't see, like, once we, well, I don't know if we want to go that far into it. I mean, cause I'm one that like, I want niggas to know I have money, but I don't really want you to know how much. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to say the figures, but but yeah, I mean, as of late, like, it's definitely been, you know, we've been doing a little bigger deals. You know what I mean? To where, like, we've been getting some lump sums. So with that, life has, like, I have been thinking a little differently in a sense to where, like, all right, so.
Yeah, you got more time to strategically move.
Yeah. And just thinking about, like, I just feel like, why did we do all of that? You know what I mean? Like, you start thinking about why you did it. It was like, oh, well, we did it so that we can do what we want to do, which is go bowling and go play poker when I want and spend time with my family when I want and go to Magic Mountain or like have a good time. And that's what I've been doing lately. You know what I mean? And trying to preach like, yo, you know, I just think that some people, they just get caught in, because there's nobody really teaching us that there is a goal. Like, there is an ideal life that you want to live, and once you've met that ideal life, why are you chasing still?
Yeah, that's like a different thing too, because when you get to the place where you like, all right, I'm happy with this. You know what I mean? Like that's when you can really game plan. Mm-hmm. Because until you feel me, get to the point where you feel accomplished and you feel comfortable and you feel content, and you like, yo, I did this. You know what I mean? That feeling, you gonna always feel like you gotta chase something. You gonna always feel like this next opportunity is something that you gotta taste. Otherwise, you could miss your window or you could miss your shot. You know what I mean? And I think because when I didn't have it, and you want it, whenever you don't have something that you want, a lot of times people are willing to do things that they wouldn't normally do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like step out of their character for the sake of, I'm just taking this one for the team, or I don't got to do this for too much longer, but I'm going to do it because I'm trying to get somewhere. Mm-hmm. When, not realizing that those instances that are that tiny and practical ain't gonna make or break anyway. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So most of the things that's like, okay, I gotta do this. I don't want to go, but I'm gonna just go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, because that's big time. Like, he talking about like, because when you coming up in the game, you want to be at the Rock Nation brunch. Like, mm-hmm. You want to take the picture. Like, you know what I mean? You talking about, like, hey, man, like, can you get Eric can you get him in the Grammy thing? Can you get him in the... Mm-hmm. And now it's like, we absolutely don't want to go. Because we don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, we don't... It's tough to get us out the house.
Yeah, when you feel like you have to go or you're going to miss your opportunity... Mm-hmm. You gon' kind of take it for the team just because you feel like you don't want to miss what's coming for you, rather than when you feel like you can't, like, I got everything I need. It's kind of just puts you in the mindset of like, I don't gotta do that.
But I also think that like a part of it is also like a confidence in yourself to where you're just like, I really don't need nobody to put me on. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to just put myself on. That's how it worked anyways. Yeah. Like, so many people think there's, like, this magic button or, like, this somebody can, like, just put you on. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think that's a part of it, too, where it's, like, I hear, like, because you be still having friends that are, like, not there yet. And they be, like, hey, let's go to this or let's do this, and you just can't understand what, like, cause like, bro, that's not finna like change your life,
right?
You know what I mean? Like you're gonna change your life. Like nobody else can do that for you, and it'd be hard to explain that to somebody though. Like they don't be wanting to really buy into that. They be thinking like, nah, like
because I think it's at a certain point where you like, how is this gonna happen? How is life gonna turn around? I don't see how it's gonna happen, but they got it. Mm-hmm. So if I can get them to sprinkle a little fairy dust on me, like, then I'm gonna have it. But it's like, it's never gonna work like that. No matter what, it's like you gotta actually either hit the bottom. I know we was talking about, you helping people get there before they hit the bottom. Mm-hmm. But in essence, a lot of people that are already at it, they gotta figure it out for themselves, and the only way you really figure it out for yourself is when you fail. You know what I mean? I think a failure was one of my greatest teachers, just because especially when I would do something that I think was the right thing, and it didn't do nothing for me, or I would go to the place and it didn't do nothing for me, or it was just like, man, all right, cool. You just gotta buckle down and put the time in, because I think us never stopping and the timing just being in alignment, you gotta consider that. Like, it's not always everybody's time as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, where are we? So what are we like? Eric D for President 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Talked about going back over the empire.
What's after Born to Sing? Or Eric.
You got like. gonna say Easy Call, but like meditation music. That little time period when I was just getting all my passion projects off, like
Cannabis.
Yeah, cannabis, meditation music, and then at that point, I think once I got to that point, it was like I was really in my Zen mode, and you know, I was like, yo, I'm really like in a space where nothing gives me more pleasure than, you know, the things that don't got, like, honestly, the things that I was searching for with the music, like the gratification of me being like, you know, I kind of found it in myself with just being grateful. You know what I'm saying? And being at peace and like the meditating and that stuff really like changed my life. You know, the yoga, I changed it and adapted the whole lifestyle to the point where I felt enough. You know what I mean? I felt like I was enough. I felt that I had enough. I felt that.
What do you think made you feel like you wasn't enough?
Just because the notoriety wasn't necessarily there, or people didn't know who I was, and me always knowing how good I am, and me knowing how great I am, or me, maybe having more situations where I'm taking off of songs rather than now at least I have songs of my own to say I don't need to be on your song. You know what I mean? So I needed to see something, because as an artist, when you sensitive about your craft and when you know it's hard and you're not getting a response, it is unsettling after a while. It's like, bruh, I know I'm killing. I know these songs are dope. And I actually had Fine China to go off of. You know what I'm saying? I actually had these songs to compare in essence, like, man, how come these songs ain't doing good? So it was just an extra battery that always made me feel like I gotta keep going. I gotta write 5 songs a day. I gotta write 10 songs a day. I gotta get all these sessions because I need to wake the world up single-handedly. I need to do it by myself. I need to, just get out here and grind for it and work for it. And I was really proud of when people would say the great things about me and me not have to say it for myself.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot more to make somebody else big you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me not wanting to, necessarily ruffle feathers like how I would just take the politically correct, that was a longer road. That was a much longer road. I had to, just kind of get used to the fact that my talent is just going to have to speak for me. And I think once I started seeing my fan base, you know what I mean? Like, especially my last tour, that's what made me feel like I've arrived. You know what I mean? When I go to the shows and I can see the people and they come, and they going crazy with me, I think that is the closest thing that remind me to back in the day scoring a touchdown.
Yo, when you say that, like, you felt like you arrived, and then they had the post, the R&B post, and PJ Morton didn't really mention you. You know what I mean? And what did that make you feel like?
I think it just made me wanna do more on my part with getting people to know, because I don't think that it was anything personal to where he doesn't think that I'm
right. You just think
enough.
He just kind of like
don't know.
It just like
I think a lot of people don't know. Yeah, I think people just don't know, and I'm just like, yo, it's getting to the point now where it's like, but don't want to mention my name. You know what I'm saying? I think I had got to the point where I'm like, how come they don't just say me too? You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I've done enough. I felt like the songs have done enough. And, I remember when he was like, man, I said I probably forgot a lot of people. Like, and I remember being like, nah, it shouldn't even be forgotten. It really shouldn't even be forgotten. So with him, I remember just hitting him on the DM and I sent him some links like, hey bro, check this out. Like, you know what I mean? I never take the standpoint of I'm not enough. You know what I mean? I always just feel like, man, I know my voice is crazy. I know I write, great music, but the awareness is not there. Like the awareness is not there. Like how it could be for the sake of me trying to get people attention. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to get nobody attention in any other way than putting out a great song. And everybody else is, maybe putting out music, and not even to say everybody, but you have a lot of artists nowadays that they not afraid to just kind of like sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Like
sacrifice their character.
Yeah, just for the sake of like, man, I don't even care what niggas is saying like that. You know what I mean? And I care not only what people are saying for the sake of for the sake of me just caring, but I also feel like my character is a strong like image that I don't want to be looked at in any other way than I started out as. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, if it never happened to the point where I'm like the number one artist in the world, I'm good with it not ever happening for the sake of the peace that I feel right now. You know what I'm saying?
You got a white thing right here. So why do you think that R&B is in the state that it's in?
Man, people don't necessarily think smooth, chill, slow down, sexy, time with my girl right now. Like that's not leading the narrative for the culture. You know what I mean? Like what it is girls not necessarily, girls being actually worse or just as bad as the dudes, you know what I mean, as far as loyalty. I'm not even saying I'm thinking it got to a point where the girls was like over the dudes, and then the dudes was like, man, I can't even be loyal to the girls because they out here going crazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So even starting at that, the mentality isn't quick to think love. When you're talking about music, that was the essence and foundation it was all created around. I see people like, man, I like this Eric Bellinger song, but you know what I mean? I ain't got nobody. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people might have liked the music, but they didn't have the same connection to it that
they can relate.
Yeah.
At the time. Yeah. I mean, but I just feel like when you do look back at R&B and in our era, like, I think they was more willing to just like tell the truth about what was going on in their life, or just able to be a vessel for somebody that was like going through a situation. And nowadays it's like, I don't feel like people is being honest with their situation enough to where like they don't want to look stupid or like look like a certain way, so they're not gonna say like they're not gonna do a confessions album. You know what I mean? Because it's like nobody is really, they letting people in to a certain extent. They're not really like letting people all the way. I'm really saying R&B artists though. Yeah. I'm not, because I think that's what the rappers are doing. Like they are like, oh, they like come into the show. Right. Like you're all welcome. Right. And I don't think R&B is like very welcoming.
No, I think R&B guys in general are just different character than rappers. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know, when you think rapper, you think, you feel me? And when you think R&B, you think just real chill, smooth, you know, and we just not in that time as a generation. Like the generation is lit right now. The generation is turned. The generation is doing things we wouldn't have thought of doing in our time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
saying? Because it's definitely hard to do something new. Mm-hmm. Like doing something new that we haven't seen before is like it's getting tough. Mm-hmm. Like there is no like what challenge haven't we seen? Mm-hmm. What type of situation haven't we seen? We've seen a dude being with two girls. Right. We've seen the guy cheat on his wife or the wife get back with him. We done seen so much in the public to the point where it's just like, what's exciting?
Yeah, what's exciting, what's entertaining. And they look to artists as entertaining. You know what I mean? So when you get used to people like 6ix9ine and, you know, like just this Soulja Boy level of entertainment, it's like, it's kind of like when you're watching TV. Like if you're not excited, you're gonna just turn.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I think the music is good though. Mm-hmm. The music in the R&B world, I think is good. Lately, I've been like listening to like the R&B channels on Spotify and on Apple Music, and like I like the music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just good. Like it just be certain artists on there that I be like, I don't know who this is, but the song is hard though.
Yeah. That's why I said the other day, like I think we got the music. It's just you don't know. Like there's no way to really, you know, find a new artist unless you. That's when I if it's a playlist song, that's the only way I can really find a new song. Where, you know, rather than like 106 in Park or, you know, back in the day when you can just see it. Like we was watching 106 in Park. Period. It was the top 10. We could compare. We could say who's that. You know, you had your label that was possibly running a lot of that, but they even still snuck in like New Joint of the Day. We got in there on the New Joint of the Day one time. And I think, you know, without these platforms, it's just impossible for anybody to grab hold of anybody because they moving so fast. You know what I mean? We moving so fast in our daily life. If you're not in my face over and over, it's like, I'm not going to even be able to tag in and really, you know, kind of tap in with you. I look at it like we really started early. You know what I mean? We really started a fan base and been building it for a decade. You know what I mean? So we didn't know. We didn't think 10 years out 10 years ago. You know, we just was like, we was just on our shit. You know what I mean? But I think as we started to see it, it started to get a lot easier to just accept our position.